Please adhere to YouTube's selected guidelines before viewing the content of this video. I do not encourage or condone any products, actions, or behaviors shown in this video. All videos are produced in a safe, professional, and controlled environment. Please do not attempt to replicate any actions performed during the video. All actions are performed by professionals.
Alrighty, so today I'm going to be drawing in my new notebook for the first time and giving it a little bit of a review. This is a SOHO Urban Artist Sketch notebook. It's 5.6 by 8.26 inches, which is a little bit of an odd size, I will admit, for a notebook, but not a size that I mind at all. It's actually a size I like quite a bit. It's just definitely not a generic size notebook. It's something a little bit different than average, but also please correct me if I'm wrong. It could be just normal, and I just don't know that in all honesty. It has 120 sheets in it. It's 65-pound paper, which is decent weight paper for what it is with the texture of it and everything like that kind of thing. I've used one of these before, and while 65-pound paper is not heavy by any means, the texture of the paper is actually really, really, really interesting and kind of makes up for the really, really, really lightweight paper poundage. Taking a look at the front of the notebook, though, we can just see it's a classic black with some sort of, I definitely have to say this is not white, this is more like a silver. It's got sort of like a paper-like texture to it. Makes sense. It is actually paper. Just says SOHO right there, and then all in silver. The rest of the text is also in, well, silver. All of the text is silver. Yeah. I'm moving on to the back. We can see more black. Just says SOHO Urban Sketch right there, except this time in sort of an off-white. And then we could just see the barcode right here, which has a nice little design on it. We could just see it's got the New York City skyline, or what they would like us to think is the New York City skyline, because it's actually just a barcode. This is indeed, though, made in China, excuse me, not in SOHO, sadly, which is a shame. But hey, this is like a $6 notebook. I got this notebook for free a couple days ago. As I said, I've had one of these previously. I filled it up. Where is my free one? Do I have it anywhere around here? I think I have it in a box. I don't know where it is, in all honesty. But the one I actually paid like $6-7 for was pretty good, and I ain't gonna lie. And I'll take a free one of these. I'll take a free one of these. And one of my favorite features about this notebook, I'll go ahead and show y'all in just a minute once I actually get it all opened up. But let me just go and get it all opened up real quick. Let me go and show y'all one of my favorite features about this notebook. So the overall texture of the front is pretty decent. It's not bad at all, if I do say so myself. Pretty easy to draw on. I'm just going to go ahead and use my Super Sharpie just to do a little bit of a sketch on the front and just show you guys how well it shows up or how well it doesn't show up. So I'm just going to go ahead and just do a little bit of a fish real quick. Just like that. And it just fades out and everything like that kind of thing. Like, you can see it, but you can't see it super well. It definitely appears better in the light. As we can see, it definitely appears better in the light, but it is on there nonetheless. White definitely appears better on this notebook, and I think I did white on my last one, but I don't really have any white markers right now that are working very well. Let me just go ahead and show y'all my favorite feature, though. And my favorite feature about this is that it just folds completely flat. No matter where you are, it really is truly like a book. Now, this is one of my things with a lot of sketchbooks that are not, what's the right way of putting this, that are not ring notebooks. This is one of my issues. None of them fold flat. And it's so damn annoying. It really is so annoying. None of the notebooks fold flat. And this has a very interesting binding to it as well. But that binding allows it to fold flat like this with no issue. You can just do that kind of thing. Like, of course, the page is still going to stick up a little bit kind of thing. But it folds flat a lot better than not. Now, of course, this can be an issue once you get towards the back of the book. No matter how you use it and everything like that kind of thing, you're going to have an issue with pages starting to bend down at the back of the book. That is an issue you're going to have with this book. But if you want a book that folds flat, look no further. If you want a cheap option, there's better options, I will admit, that have a hardcover that kind of fix some of the issues that this book has, but they're also like twice as much, if not 3 times as much as this book. As long as I'm remembering correctly, prices have probably gone up in the last little bit. As said, this was a gift, so I don't know the exact price of this one. But when I bought this, it was, I want to say, about 9 months to a year ago now, and it was $6 to $7.50. I want to say it was like $6.75 or something at my local store. It might have been on sale. Either way, I bought it because it was cheap, and I was not super happy with it when I first got it. But then as I started working my way through it, I actually really liked it, especially for having 120 sheets. It's really not a bad price. My biggest issue when I first started using this notebook, though, was the texture of the paper. Now, the texture of the paper is very rough. It's very rough texture paper, and I was like, this is kind of low-quality paper. That was my first impression. I was like, this is kind of low-quality paper. And it's only 65 pounds, so it's not really like it's super thick either kind of thing. But let me see if I can let's see. So this one is what poundage is this paper? Let's see. So this is 50-pound paper. This is only 10 pounds less. And just taking a look at the, let's just flip over to one I've previously drawn. So let's just take a look at this. This is really thin, really malleable. I don't like it. And it's got a super smooth texture kind of thing. Even though this is a Strathmore drawing book, even though it's a Strathmore sketch, I hate the paper. I'm using it because I got it for free. I don't like the paper. I actually like this coarse texture a lot more. And when I'm using a gel pen like a Sharpie S Gel, or when I'm using a fountain pen like this Pilot Varsity or something like that kind of thing, the textured paper actually makes the ink stick a lot better. Now, it doesn't really matter so much with a Sharpie, of course. But when you're using something where the ink tends to run a lot, it tends to bleed a lot kind of thing, honestly, this sort of coarse texture, even with the low poundage, is amazing, and I really, really, really do like it. I'm just going to go ahead and do a drawing real quick. I think with my Pilot Varsity, though, just to go ahead and showcase the paper and everything like that, I'm just going to do it landscape, and I'm just going to go ahead and draw a fish real quick. That's how I got to start off all of the notebooks and everything like that. And we can see that that coarse texture definitely does have an effect on the look of the drawing. We can see there is definitely some spots where it's a little bit splotchy. It's not bad, though. It's a stylistic thing more so than not, in my opinion. I'm also not holding this pen down the hardest. If I hold it down harder, the lines are a lot more distinct, but I'm not really doing that all that much. Just a little quick drawing real quick. Just like that, and there we go. There's a fish, and that was done with a Pilot Varsity. This is a fountain pen, as we can see. I don't use fountain pens very often. I need to get myself some nicer ones so I can start using them more often. Although I could use this cheap one more often, but I don't. I just prefer my normal like rollerball gel pens, whatever. I'm moving that to the side though. Let's go ahead and test out my gel pen. So I'm just gonna fold that over, and this is one of the things I love about it. It folds flat, and this is one of my issues. I love super fucking cheap IKEA notebooks. One of my favorite notebooks of all time. I love it. They're super thin. They fit in my backpack really great. I love them. And while I'm typically not the biggest fan of super thin notebooks, I really like them because they're so cheap. It's like $3 for 3 of them. They're $1 a piece, and you get like, I think, 40 pages. They're great. So you get 120 pages overall. They're fantastic. I love them. But my issue with them is that, one, the paper is not as nice as this. They're cheaper. It makes sense. And then two, they don't really fold flat very well. Even though they're great notebooks, they're super portable, I love them, they don't fold flat, and the paper sucks. This paper is so nice to use with a pen, and not so much with a pencil, which I'll be getting to in just a little bit. It's definitely not as good with the pencil, but if you're using a pen, it's really not all that bad, and I really, really, really do like it. I'm just going to go ahead and draw just a little square right here. Just go up a little bit more. Just like that. Chair, there we go. It's a chair. I'm just gonna add some more details just like that. And there we go. So yeah, we can see how this reacts to a gel pen now. To a gel pen, it definitely reacts a little bit better than to a fountain pen, but still not bad at all. Let's go ahead and try my mechanical pencil though real quick. And I'm just gonna draw just a little bit of a guy right here. Now it's not terrible, but definitely the texture of the notebook itself, while it's not terrible, and it definitely would be easier with a non-mechanical pencil than a mechanical pencil, you can definitely feel the paper gripping the ink more. Especially with sharp lead, the rough texture makes it feel like you're going to rip the paper. Just simply, I'm like, it is thin paper, but the roughness helps so much that a lot of times you really don't even notice it. But with lead, you definitely do feel like you're going to rip the paper sometimes, and that really is a little bit whack, and I really don't like that. But overall, it's definitely less of an issue than not. But that is something notable to mention. As said, I think with a normal pencil. I don't have a normal pencil on me right now. I don't typically use normal pencils. I typically prefer to use mechanical pencils. If I'm not going to use a mechanical pencil, I want to use a Blackwing, but I don't actually own any Blackwings. I've only ever used a Blackwing from somebody I know who really likes Blackwings. They're really nice pencils. I need to get myself some. $30, that's a lot of money. I'd much rather just buy a bunch of Sharpies instead. But that is one notable thing I want to mention. Just works great with fountain pens, works great with gel pens and normal roller balls and everything like that kind of thing. Pencils, you're going to have a little bit of an issue if you're using mechanical pencil lead that's anywhere below 0.7 millimeter size, or if it's just sharp at that time kind of thing, you might have a little bit of an issue with it grabbing, and you could rip the paper if you're really pressing down. But if you're just doing like shading and stuff with a pencil and stuff, you're not really going in on the lines like I do, it's not a big issue. Now, one thing I've forgotten about since I use this notebook is, because I use a lot of Sharpies when I'm drawing. I use a shit ton of Sharpies. My favorite at the moment is this Super Sharpie, which was overpriced, I will admit, but it's been fantastic so far. I say that, knock on wood, it's probably going to start fading, because that's what all Sharpies do, right? I want a better Sharpie alternative, but I love Sharpies so much because there is no better alternative besides Poscas, which are insanely damn expensive. Damn Sharpie. I have my quorums. But one thing I don't remember about this paper is how easily it bleeds. So I'm just going to do a normal drawing real quick. I am just going to draw another fish. So I'm just going to do that. And we can see Sharpie on this paper. It comes through fantastically. There's no sort of areas where it doesn't really want to come through. It's super smooth, really nice. I do absolutely love using Sharpie on this paper. I think it is absolutely fantastic. Let's just do a couple fins, just like that kind of thing. Perfect. No complaints on my behalf. Did that bleed through? We can see it didn't quite bleed through per se, but we can see areas where it would have bled through very easily. So let's just go like that real quick. There we go. And we can see, oh, that bled through one page, bled through another page, and bled through to another page. And did it go make it through that one? It did not make it through that one. So just doing that, this is thin paper. Even though the roughness of the paper makes it feel a little bit thicker, it is still thin paper, and that is still something you need to be careful about if you're using a Sharpie with this book. But I really do think this sketchbook right here is perfect for, I definitely have to say, soft pencils. I think soft pencils, anything lower than an HB, I think is perfectly fine for this notebook. And I'd have to say gel pens, roller balls, fountain pens. Fountain pens, you might struggle a little bit. I'd say, maybe stay away from these with this notebook. Mechanical pencils, you're probably going to want to stay away from with this notebook. Sharpies, they look great in this notebook, but you're going to bleed through, so be warned. I still think they work. I still think these are fantastic for this notebook, though. I think definitely things that are best with this notebook, gel pens, roller balls, etc. Those really are the best things for this notebook, and that is what I'm going to use this notebook for. I'm going to do Sharpie in it, of course. Sharpie is one of my favorite things to do. I love the bold lines of Sharpies, but this notebook is meant for softer pencils, and it's meant for just normal pens kind of thing. It's not meant for felt pens, and that's what I'm going to be using this notebook for. That's what it's best for, and that has pretty much been my review of the SOHO Urban Artist Sketch notebook. Overall, I've used one of these notebooks before, as said, and I think it's a pretty good notebook. I really do not mind this notebook at all. I think it's pretty good. It definitely does have its problems. Of course, the paper bleeds really well, but it's thin paper. But honestly, it's really not that bad. It's not smooth paper, which some of y'all might not like. I actually really like it though, because it gives it a little bit more feeling when you're actually drawing, and that is something I like quite a bit. So really no complaints on my behalf, in all honesty. I really do like the rougher, coarser texture of the paper, which, as I said, is something I did not like when I first had one of these notebooks about a year ago now. I think I finished it off like 6 months ago. It took me a while to burn through because it's got 120 pages after all. But for the price, you really can't beat it, in all honesty. This is, in my opinion, if you're looking for a small sketchbook, granted, it is pretty thick. It is pretty dang thick, I will say. But if you're looking for a smaller sketchbook, and you don't mind thin paper with a coarse texture, look no further, in all honesty. It's not a bad price. It's a good notebook. It folds flat. It does have its issues. It does have its issues, as said, but those issues are pretty minor, especially when you consider in the price. There's better options, but they're all going to be double, if not 3 times as much as this notebook right here. So you got to pick and choose. Do you want cheap or do you want nice? This is a good combination of both. but it's definitely more cheap than nice, that is for sure. I'd buy it again, though. I'd buy one of these again. I'm glad I got given this notebook as a gift. I really did like the first one I used. And I would buy one of these again with my own money. I would definitely buy one of these again. Not to do like, I'm like, you can't do acrylic in this. I'm sure you could. I would not recommend doing acrylic in this. You're definitely going to want a different, I'm like, I do think the paper could work for acrylic. It's rough enough to kind of, I think you could do acrylic in it, but it's so thin. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it kind of thing. You're going to want something 100 pound or more for really acrylic, in my opinion, at least 80 pound or more. 65 pound is just a bit too light. But I'm also just a guy on the internet who doesn't know what he's talking about, so take what I say with a grain of salt. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching my little bit of a review of the Soho Urban Artist Sketchbook, though. I hope you guys have enjoyed watching me draw in the sketchbook as well. Let me know in the comments down below if you have any constructive criticisms for the drawings I did today. I did the fish on the cover, then I did a fish on the first page, and then I did a chair, and then I did a guy, and then I did another fish just like that, and then I did a dot, and a dot, and a dot, and then no more dot. That's it. Actually, no, there's not the same spot. Y'all just saw the back of my head real quick, I'm pretty sure. But let me know if y'all have any constructive criticism about the drawings I did today. And of course, let me know y'all's personal opinion about this notebook if you guys have ever used it. Or let me know y'all's personal opinion about the review that I just did. I don't do reviews a lot on this channel. But I figured, man, I got a new notebook. I might as well review it. I've used this notebook before. I already have my opinions kind of set. Might as well record a review. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, the review and the drawings, let me know in the comments down below. Let me know what you guys thought. Let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this in the future. I'm a big fan of notebooks. I burn through them pretty fast. I draw quite a bit. So maybe if this review was enjoyed, I might have to do more notebook reviews in the future. I want to do some rodeo reviews. So even if, no matter what y'all say, I'm going to do a rodeo review eventually because I fucking love rodeo. I ain't going to lie, y'all. Great paper. Great books. Big fan. Have been for a long time. But, it's fucking expensive though. But, thank you very much for watching this video, guys. I certainly hope you guys have enjoyed watching my review of the Soho Urban Sketch. Like, subscribe, check out my Instagram, my book, my merch, my P.O. Box, my main channel, all that in the description down below. And yeah, this is the next one, y'all. Stay safe and peace and have a great one. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying?